Hi, everyone. I'm Heidi Pillars, Senior Director of Special Programs here at the 92nd Street Y. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the David Geffen stage at Kaufman Concert Hall for the second annual TCM Classic Film Festival New York pop-up at 92NY. Yay. We're thrilled to be partnering once again with Turner Classic Movies to bring this beloved festival to New York City. Thank you for joining us today, especially on such a cold day, as we celebrate the Big Apple on the big screen, alongside some very special guests. TCM and 92NY both love New York, and we're so glad you're here with us to help kick off what we're sure is to be a fantastic day of film, conversation, and New York stories. So let's get right to it. He truly needs no introduction. Please join me in welcoming Ben Mankiewicz.
All right. Wow. Thank you very much. Welcome to the 92nd Street Y and our second annual TCM pop-up here in New York. I missed it last year. I regretted that enormously, so I'm really thrilled to be here. Coming up with an idea for what movies to do for this festival, a theme, wasn't terribly tricky. It turns out, I don't know whether you know this, but a lot of very good films have been set in New York. Yeah. One of the first pieces of advice I got was from my cousin Nick Davis, who lives here. He's a really talented documentary filmmaker. And Nick told me in an early intro I did when I referred to New York City, he was like, and I've remembered it, I've been there, TCM 23 years now. It's amazing. And thanks very much. I can't believe it. In TV, nobody has a job this long. It's absurd. My brother's been at Dateline for 30 years. It's amazing. Now, you don't need to applaud my brother. It's unnecessary. So, but I said, I referred to, you know, some movie set in New York City. He was like, hey, you're doing great, everything. New York. He's like, but you don't need to say city. It's New York. These movies aren't set in Albany. And I've remembered that advice for 22 years. Our first guest, I'm going to ask a question. If you actually know the answer, I don't want you to shout it out. Just off the top of your head, how many Oscar nominations do you think Bradley Cooper has? But four, five, right? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is 12. That's right. You are about to hear from a 12-time Oscar nominee, one of the most talented filmmakers, actors in the business, and his presence here to help TCM is so kindly appreciated. It's wonderful of him. Ladies and gentlemen, Bradley Cooper. Twelve, yeah. 12. Wow. That's pretty cool, man.
It's crazy.
So do you think, really quick, I mean, this is stupid, but so I like to open with a stupid question. First thing, do you think of yourself when you think about being in this business? Do you think of yourself as a director or an actor?
Ooh.
All right, less stupid than I thought.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
You love them both?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Your latest film, Is This Thing On, is wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
I knew I was going to like it, and I did. And it is very much a New York story.
Very much, yeah.
And so what is it, and you literally chose New York Stories, the 1989 anthology film. What is it about New York? Because it's not just that it's the biggest city and the most exciting city and the city that most represents this country, right? There's something very particular to the quality of life and people in the city itself that lends itself to sort of the kind of storytelling that we are celebrating here tonight with this film and with Wall Street coming up later. Michael Douglas will be here with Alicia Malone, and then Rosie Perez and Eddie Muller for Sweet Smell of Success tonight. What is it about New York?
I mean, it's one of those things that it's like unsaid, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, maybe it's because I grew up in Philadelphia, which I absolutely love. Yeah.
I'm unfamiliar with that. Is it near here?
Yeah, very, yeah. But when I was growing up there, you know, I couldn't wait to get out. And then once I got out, I loved it even more. And then, you know, now I go back and live there part-time also. But New York for us growing up was just like Oz, you know. And we would make a trip, my parents and my sister and I, you know, maybe once every 4 months drive. And my dad would get lost in the West Village and cursing. You know, because it was like it's very
it's impossible to find.
Well, yeah,
around.
Yeah, all those streets. Yeah, Bleecker is just like a mind fuck. If you're from Philadelphia and you're driving, but it was, I don't know. And then honestly, the movies. You know, movies that I had watched growing up, I think also, and just you know, Woody Allen films, and just New York, and you just I don't know, and it wasn't even because of theater back then. But then I went to grad school here. And that's when
you're an actor's studio.
I went to the actor's studio when it was at the New School, yeah. And that was sort of a shifting moment in my life. And that's when I also realized that most people, or a lot of people, have had the same experience I've had when they come to this city, which is they find a pocket of people like-minded that inspire them, and at the same time, they're just inundated with inspiration everywhere. I mean, I was a doorman at the Morgan Hotel. I remember I worked the graveyard shift and just walking home on, you know, and it's funny that it's snowing. One of my favorite memories is walking home at 6 a.m. from, I think it was like 38th and Madison, right by the J.P. Morgan Library, and walking back downtown. And just the magical moments of New York at all hours of the day and night. Yeah, there's just something about it. And I live here now for the last 7 years. It's tough. but I do. I just there's something about it. It's endlessly inspiring, and clearly it's endlessly inspiring for many different types of artists and people.
Yeah, I went to grad school here, journalism school here, and I found that it simultaneously grinds you down and inspires you, like within the same couple of minutes. I mean, I'd have no money. I'd take $60 out of the ATM, and then 28 hours later, I'd have $2, and I'd be like, I didn't do anything. I did nothing. I took one cab, and I feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the Actors Studio, and we're going to get into specifics about New York stories. But very famously, you were on television on Inside the Actors Studio, the TV show. You asked a question of an actor who was a guest there, and it's a seminal moment for the show.
Well, it wasn't aired until I did The Hangover, and then they put it back on.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. It wasn't on. Yeah, I think it was like a retro. Yeah, they put it back on.
I imagine then they were like,
I didn't make.
I think that guy asked a question. Find it.
Yeah, no, I remember exactly, man. I asked us. This was a TV show, but it was our thesis in our school, so it was actual class, and they would have all these incredible artists come and talk for they would cut the show down to 2 or 3 hours, but it was like a 6.5 hour endeavor when you would go. And I learned so much. It was just incredible. You're seeing all of your heroes. But I was terrified. I always had stage fright too, even back then. And but Robert De Niro came, and I wanted to ask him this question about Awakenings, and I thought and it was an amazing experience. And you hold on to those little moments, because I asked him this question about this tic that he started to do when he wanted to go for a walk, and if he had made that up or he had seen somebody do that. I've told the story so many times, but and I was terrified. And I remember and because they told you pick the microphone, stand up, and then once you ask the question, sit down, say who you are, say what part, and I didn't do any of that. I picked up, I never sat down, I stood up the whole time, and I remember he was just no, I didn't see anybody do that, no. Right, like this, right? He's like, that's a good question. And I was like, that's a good question. And I remember I was like, and then my friend's like, Bradley. I was like, but I'm not kidding, dude. That I kept that in me for years of inspiring, it's okay, go for it. Because I just thought everybody's gonna laugh at me. Yeah.
He doesn't give you much in an interview.
That was a lot.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
Yeah.
He didn't say that to James Lipton.
Yeah. So,
I'm sure he did. I'm sure.
So in addition to seeing your movie, I watched the sort of the making of your movie. Not really making of, it's sort of about what led you and the actors, Will Arnett and Laura Dern. You're in it as well, to do the movie. And I was struck by something that I think production designer Kevin Thompson said. Is that right? Who was the?
Yep.
He talked about that the key to what makes a great New York movie, he said, are the intimacies of the city. So Kevin said that, and that struck me, what you're going to see here in New York Stories, and I think it's true then with, I don't think of myself as being a fan necessarily of specifically of New York movies, but 5 of my favorite movies are 3 Days of the Condor and Network and Sweet Smell of Success and Michael Clayton, right? And those movies, 12 Angry Men too. Those movies are barely, New York, you don't think of it, but they are intimate movies set in the most important city in the world. What is that about New York?
I think it has to do with these little pockets. I think of Kevin Thompson. I think of that townhouse in Birth. He production designed Birth, the Jonathan Glazer movie, which is also New York.
Yeah.
And even the intimacy of the Central Park when that opening shot when the guy dies within the tunnel. Remember when he's jogging?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like there's just little pockets of intimate spaces that you could, create an imaginary circumstance, and I think people utilize it all the time. Like the cellar for us. That was like this.
Right. That was such a. Right, and it's again. This movie, I suppose, certainly could have been in Los Angeles. You could have told the story about marriage breaking up, and then a guy who finds stand-up comedy, and.
But I think maybe that's part of it. I couldn't even visualize. When I started to rewrite the movie, it was all. New York was a character.
Right, a big, that's what people always say, a character. But I wanted to sort of figure out what that is, and it is never that it's huge. There's no movie where everybody goes to all 5 boroughs, right?
Right.
I don't know whether you guys know that, but Staten Island is a whole borough. It's always, the great movies are like New York, but confined. Dog Day Afternoon, New York, but confined. Anyway, here in New York Stories, it's an anthology film, which we haven't had many of since. The first one directed by, I've now forgotten. Martin Scorsese directed the first one, then Francis Ford Coppola, then Woody Allen. The first movie, the first segment, this is what it grabbed you the first time you saw it.
Yeah, I can only speak to the first movie, in all honesty. But yeah, when we were talking about coming here, and I was asked what's my favorite New York movie, and I didn't even think twice. It's Life Lessons, the first of the anthology that you'll see tonight. Does anybody know this movie? Yeah. To me...
let me ask this way. Eddie does this, Eddie Muller taught me this. Applaud if you have not seen New York Stories. That's a lot of people. It's good. They're in for a treat. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I must have seen this movie. It came out in 1989. Martin Scorsese. This is a sort of short film that he made after Last Temptation of Christ and before Goodfellas. And and Richard Price wrote. It's based on a Dostoevsky novella called The Gambler. And to me, speaking of grad school, we used to talk about that guy's got the juice just dripping off of him, like talent. And you just see, which seems like just something that feels kind of effortless in my mind that he sort of did in between movies is so incredible to me, this movie. On every level, just the writing, the dialogue, the characters. Nick Nolte's performance, he plays Lionel Dolby, and it's like one of the great performances. And just the rhythm and Scorsese's use of music in it. It's one of the best needle drop uses of a song in any movie, Paler Shade of White. It's just incredible. And you talk about...
It's throughout the movie. It is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I listened to it immediately.
And it's all in like Tribeca and then in Soho. And living in Philadelphia, that's the movie what really made me think like, oh, wow, living in like a loft would be the dream. And it really came from like this movie in large part, and then his portrait of an artist and of and the demons inside of us, and the relationship, and so many things. And then the Odeon's in there. That's the restaurant. There's all these landmarks that you'll recognize. The great late Paulie Herman, who I worked with in Silver Linings Playbook at American Hustle, plays this great scene with the cop. When he puts him away. And Steve Buscemi's in it. There's so many people in it. It's Rosanna Arquette. It's just incredible film. I hope you like it as much as I do, because I've seen it about 25 times. I really, and I have to say, like, it's been the thing that's inspired me most. In fact, when I was like coming here, I was thinking like the movie I just did, I played this character who's like an actor, and I wore onesies through the whole movie. And I realized I think I got it from this movie. I think I did his whole look based on Lionel Dolby. Now that I'm thinking
Lionel's
about it.
There's a lot of onesies when he's painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really I mean, Nick Nolte, we all know, is capable of real greatness. And so I'm not minimizing anything else he's done, but in this movie, and it's a short, but it's not that short. It's like 40 minutes or more than 30 anyway. And it's like just it might be his best performance. I mean, there's so much going on when he doesn't even
He's incredible.
Not even delivering a line of dialogue.
Yeah. Lionel Dolby.
Yeah, it's
the lion, baby.
His voice
is great. And there's two moments that I'm just going to talk about without giving away in the film. But there's this one moment that Scorsese captures loss in a second, where Nick Nolte's character realizes that he lost something, and it's just like such a real moment. It's just an incredible moment. If you see it, see what you think. And the other moment is when he's looking at another person, and he does this smile on his face, which is just so pure. And it's just the smile of, you'll never be as good as me. But he does it with joy like a child, not like there's nothing mean about it. It's just incredible. There was something going on. And obviously they had a good experience because then he went and made Cape Fear with Scorsese later. And even the editing, the use of space, his compositions, the way he talks about, because Lionel Dolby plays a painter, the way he cinematically, Scorsese tells the story of painting, brushstrokes, the colors. It's very much. It's almost like you could feel like that's the same guy who made Raging Bull in the fight scenes. He somehow manages to create a person painting on a canvas with the same ferocity and beauty as he did with the Raging Bull. It's really it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a portrait of an. I hate talking like this, but he is a painter. He is an artist. Like, it's a portrait of an artist, and then Rosanna Arquette is a aspiring artist, and Steve Buscemi is an artist too, who she has been in a prior relationship with. They're really the only three really significant characters in the thing. It's really a two-parter with Rosanna Arquette, who is wonderful, and like to look at the struggles. To be able to capture the struggles of an artist and the deep humanity that so many artists have, and their simultaneous inability to deal with other humans sometimes. I think it's just, I mean, it's such an incredibly perceptive film.
Yeah. And the abusiveness of him too. I mean,
well, that's part of his inability.
Yeah, it's very brutal.
Yeah. I don't think he doesn't want to be this way. Right?
And also that moment, we're going to give it away. We should stop talking about it. But the other great thing is like his inability to lie about one thing.
That's right.
That's art.
That's right.
No matter what, even if it means he's not going to get what he thinks he needs. That's a great. I mean, really, I think the screenplay is incredible. Don't you? I just the writing.
Yeah, you mentioned Richard Price.
Yeah, it's really like there's so many lines. There's so many great lines. Yeah.
Yeah,
and then the music that he does at Nessun Dorma. There's a great live version of Like a Rolling Stone of Dylan that he uses in an incredible part of the movie. His use of music. You're seeing everything. He's like firing on all pistons. And the fact that this was like an in-between film is kind of mind-blowing. But it does feel like maybe he flushed out everything and then he went and made Goodfellas.
Yeah, it's
what I mean? Like that he needed to sort of exercise something, or I don't know.
I made up a term.
He had so many constraints when he was doing Last Temptation, that maybe it was nice to. I'm guessing. I have no idea
you're
what
probably
I'm
right.
about.
That's probably right. I mean, there was definitely something after Last Temptation he needed.
Yeah.
Right? But I made up a term. I think it's good. Sandwich film. Right, for movies like this that people made in between these two,
right?
Like Francis Ford Coppola's sandwich film, The Conversation, the one that sort of squeezes in before another New York. No, not a New York movie.
Didn't he agree to do The Godfather because he wanted to make The Conversation?
Yeah, there's always a contractual reason why they did this film.
No, but I mean,
that's right.
So he could do The Conversation.
That's right. Movie he wanted to make was The Conversation.
Yeah.
Right? He did not want to do The Godfather Part 2. And then, TCM fans will relate to this, but, Ernst Lubitsch, who wanted to make shop around the corner so badly, but then he had to wait for Jimmy Stewart, who was making Destry rides again, and so he's like, all right, well, I guess I have time now, and he made Ninotchka. You know, but, you know,
That's nuts.
That's when they can do something like their sandwich films are pretty impressive.
Yeah.
What about you see a young actor here? She'd done work before, Rosanna Arquette, but I think there's something really magical about her in this, and it's a tricky part to play every single scene she has with Nick Nolte, who is, you know, delivering this incredibly emotional.
Yeah, I mean, they call him the lion, and that's what he is in every
that's
scene.
right, that's right.
You know, he's just eating everything up. I mean, it's you're watching these two actors just at their top of their game. Yeah, you know, they're both indelible in these roles. I mean, she's incredible. But she's an incredible actor, Rosanna Arquette.
She is an incredible actor, and she's a lovely person.
Yeah.
So would you? I mean, you're not obviously as your career continues, both as an actor and then as a filmmaker, you'll shoot movies that aren't set in New York. But do you first look, is your first idea the things that are inspiring you likely to be more New York
Well,
stories?
I mean, the truth, I've made 3 movies as a director. 2 of them are in New York, take place in New York. I live in New York. I like to work in New York. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, you can't choose. At least me, like I can't like I'm gonna do something like this now. It's not how it works. It's just something sparks in me, and then it takes hold, and then I can't get it out of my system. And this city is so inspiring. So maybe it's no. Although that's not true. Maestro, I started to write when I was still living in Los Angeles. But yeah, I guess the well of inspiration of this city has not left me at all. In fact, the next movie I'm writing takes place in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I should something else.
Just own it.
Just own it. Thank
own
you.
it, right? I mean, look, you know, Martin Scorsese, Sidney Lumet shot almost all their movies in New York, set them in New York. That's pretty good company. Ladies and gentlemen, 12-time Academy Award nominee Bradley
Thanks for having
Cooper.
me. I hope you enjoy the movie. Thank you.
Enjoy it, everybody. New York Stories. Thanks very much. Thanks for coming.